Hello, you guys. This is your girl Lilly.V, and welcome back to my podcast. Um, I don't know if you were familiar with my podcast before. It's been a minute, and I released my podcast. I think 2 years ago, and for some reasons of logistic, timing, etc., I had to stop for a while. But I'm back because I realized that something that it was so small in the beginning, and I thought that it was not having any type of impact, um, was actually required. And a lot of people, Lily, when you coming back with your podcast and stuff? So I'm back. Woohoo! So, okay, you must say, but Lily, what's the name of your podcast? That's a good question. Well, initially, my podcast was conceived to be in Spanish, and obviously, I will put my Spanish subtitles in here for the people who doesn't speak English. But I also realize that most of my audience are English speakers, even though I'm from Cuba. So straight to the question, the original name of my podcast is Los Artistas que se fueron. In English translation will be the artist who left. And initially was conceived, like I say, for um, artist support, artist platform for showing up their talents, their journey, and obviously I want to keep doing that. Especially I want to keep showing up my journey and other people's journey. And but nowadays I feel like supporting and helping other people's journeys is also sharing your experience and sharing your knowledge about the things that you've been through as an artist. And so here we are. Welcome everybody officially back to the Artist Who Left podcast by Lilly.V. So for anybody who doesn't know who is Lilly.V, well, I'm a Cuban artist. I'm based in Thailand, and I've been here for the past 5 years. And why am I making the podcast? Well, if you don't know why I'm making the podcast, you might need to go throwback in my YouTube channel. There's the few episodes where I interview amazing artists from Cuba, from Venezuela. They are overseas and kind of going through some type of journey similar, And even though artist journey is not the same for everybody, there's a lot of common points in there. And today I am actually talking about something that's very important. If you follow me in my social media, my check that I've been sharing some type of tips and some type of um, I will call it knowledge, but it comes down my experience uh, realization or some of the tips that have been helping me during my years as an artist and a performer. And recently, I one of my latest posts is about of uh, 5 tips for singer when you're like live performer. And one of the tips that caught the most attention it was I say that one of the main things that artists and musicians and singers in general need to know what to do um, or have an like in consideration is how to negotiate your price. And that question in general is it sounds easy, and for me, like before saying that and being in the live performance scenes for many many years, there's a lot of things that you learn, and there's not such a thing as um, you like your price is not a specific amount of money that you desire. And let's go to the point, and let's put out a few things that I consider when I want to negotiate my price. And uh, listen, I'm not an expert, and I can tell you that I've been underpaid before, and I'm talking strictly from my own experience of of being an independent artist with no manager, with no record deal, with not held bad experience and good people around me like my husband, and good mentors that people you met during your journey. And I think one of the first things that helped me to create a, let's call it a budget for me that works, is like when I first moved to Thailand, especially because before, let's do a quick throwback. Before, I was working with an agency, and this agency, you sign a contract where, you know, when you sign a contract, they say, okay, this is everything that you need to follow up. This is everything that you need to do, and this is the amount of money you're gonna get paid monthly. And you say yes or no, and that's on you. Okay. Now, when you are in the type of contract, you don't really, um, uh, need to know how to negotiate, because if you didn't negotiate in the beginning, then you can change. You cannot change what you already signed, unless in the contract says that after certain type of time, you will be able to negotiate in an increase of your payment. But now, when you are, like I say, when you like me, an an artist, and you move to a city where you pretty much think you know people, but you have to start from scratch. I think one of the things that I did in the beginning was understand the the city, as around. Okay, what's the basic price that musicians are getting paid? You know, um, and that's something that I think it varies depending of where do you live, and knowing how those things work is important, because uh, sometimes we come with an idea of this is my price and this is it, but you either can get um, overpaid or underpaid. And honestly, in this type of business, and this is something that it coming from a person who ego sometimes uh, kick it in the ass. But when it comes down to your price, you have to check your ego off. Why do I say this? Because it's not just your price is not, like I said in the beginning, your price is not just an amount of money. Your price is your value, everything that you bring. And sometimes we think we are the big thing, and there's so much thing that we don't know and we need to check. So yeah, one thing is like analyze how is everybody getting paid around your city. Like, okay, what's the minimum pay for regular gigs? What is the pay for um, corporate gigs? Corporate gigs means um, big events of company, weddings, all of those things. Obviously, you need to know that your price for those type of things are different. And something that it took me a while to do, and this is the second tip that I will suggest, is you need to have different packages, meaning that you need to have for example, a package of you as a solo singer with backing tracks, for example, or you as a solo singer joining another band that is already formed. Another package of um, maybe you have your own band and you have like a three or quarter, like you have your own band and you decide, like my price for this amount of people, and and have it there, because sometimes when clients come up to you, it's good to have options for them. So another thing that I will take in consideration is that once you have studied the city that you're going to perform, once you have those different packages for having people options, I think you need to be real with yourself and decide, okay, I will, based on my monthly budget, like I said, like the things that I need to get done, um, before to get there. It's important to have goals, regardless. Um, what what do you want to do as a performing artist? Because obviously there's people who just want to sing for hobby, and they don't really need that income, and they're just willing to accept a minimum amount of money just because they have a regular income from another type of job, and they just want to have fun. And also there's other type of people where, like, for example, for me, performing and singing is my full-time job, meaning that have to be careful with um, you know the not only the budget, but also how much I'm willing to work, how many days a week or a month I'm willing to work in order to um, cover up all my expenses monthly. So that's something that is very important, because, for example, let's say you study the city that you're performing, and then you realize that the amount of money that in general you will collect is not enough to pay in your bills. So it's a it's a balance. There's so many things that you need to look and have in consideration. Now, when you realize that, okay, I need this amount of money um, to cover up all my monthly bills, then you decide, okay, my price is gonna be this, and then you ask the right questions. You need to learn how to ask the right questions. And something that it was coming up in the comments a lot from other artists, like I said, in this post that I make on Instagram, a lot of people were saying, well, you need to ask first what are their budget. And yes, that's very important, because it happens in many times that you say your price first, and they probably had a bigger budget, and you ended up getting underpaid, or you your budget is higher than what they had, and you lose the gig. Now, when it comes down to that, I had a good friend and mentor who told me this one time, and I was talking before about what's your desired price. And let's say, this is just an example, let's say that you will like to get per gig $200. Like, that's, after you analyze everything, you realize that with $200 per gig, like per show, um, doing 10 shows a month, that will be enough for you to cover up your bills and everything, blah, 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 blah. That's enough for you. Uh, but it might happen that asking what is their budget, they probably have $300 for you. So you need to ask them first. And like I was saying, one of my friends told me this one. When you have that desired price, you add a little extra, and I don't know, 5%, 10%, over that price that you desire. And when you send that price to the person, um, then the person will ask you, hey, can you give me a discount, and blah blah blah, all of that part. And in this type of situation, you have to play a little mind game, meaning that no matter what, you always have to make your client believe that they are winning. I know it sounds a little shady, or I don't know. It sounds a little weird, but I applied that in the past and it works. The other thing that can happen is like when the person is someone that you know, and that's then that is optional. That is really really optional. It's up to you, but you have to make things clear and make sure that this doesn't become a regular thing, because there's nothing wrong to helping your body. It's nothing wrong to um, if you have your good friend and says, sorry, my budget is that, but there's nothing wrong with doing that. um, and I guarantee you those things happen, often, more often than we want, or more often than what we think. um, but what happened with that is that you create a competitive opinion in the negative way of, this person says, oh, he did this just for me for this little or this amount. And the other person goes around and say like, oh, but he did it for me with this amount. And it becomes a whole mess around, where instead of people thinking, oh, he did a favor for me for this, people say like, oh, he um asked me for more money, and blah 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 blah. And that can create a whole problem and bad reputation for you as a singer, as an artist. That's why it's very important in this industry to uh, learn how to say no to certain things, and um, um, stand for your for your price, the price that you set. Stand for that, and that's very important. I think that if you have a friend that needs your service, and he knows that you could, or you can do a great job, and he really appreciate it, I think like a good friend will pay you 100% price, because he values you. Other way, he still will pay it for somebody else. So you know uh, there's so many things that you have to keep in consideration. Now, it's something very important, like I say earlier, like asking the right questions, like um, the amount of hours that you have to be singing, the location, the timing, the day. A lot of things um, variate in this situation, because there's a lot of things that needs to be covered up in the amount of money that you're charging for your event. I think this part is not only for the artists and things that artists need to know. It's also for the people who are clients, or people who hire artists or hire bands. You need to know, um, if, for example, that budget include transportation, certain type of equipment, um, uh, food, accommodation, because it might happen that some gigs are outside of the city, so they need to cover up um, your all your expenses, like travel, the food, your accommodation, plus your salary. And that's why sometimes people, and not only artists, but the people who hire the artists don't understand, and they kind of try to um, belittle your value when you tell them like, sorry, my price is such and such, and they think that's a lot, but they don't realize that there's a lot of things that we need to do as well. And you know, like as a female singer, um, particularly, I like to invest on the way I look, and I want to go to my gigs and these corporate events, weddings or something, looking my best, and that's money that I need to invest, and that money only comes from my full-time job, which is singing. And you have to have in consideration all of these things. So um, I think that we got a few important points just to start wrapping up this. And please, if you have any other question, or if you want me to uh, abort or talk about other things, please let me know in the comments, through my Instagram, um, through the DMs, anywhere that you see this video. Just send me a message and ask me the right questions so I can provide a nice video here for you guys. So let's do a little review of things that you need to know of how to negotiate your price as an artist, singer, musician. Yeah, we are at the end of the podcast, and three things that I want to wrap up and make sure that you guys get the whole point of um, things that you need to negotiate. One, analyze your circle. Where are you around, and what's the minimum, maximum of how the musicians are getting paid in the city where you are uh, decided to pursue your performance artist career. Second, create different packages with price include, so you can give your client different options and where they can choose from. Um, Third, after you analyze um, what's your ideal price, um, and you check off your ego, um, then you are ready to go out there and um, you know start negotiation points, and see what's better for you, and don't be afraid to say no, and always give your client the vision that they are winning. Know that you're winning, especially when you know what's your ideal, what's the amount of money that you will feel comfortable getting with. Um, and fourth, and not less important, ask the right questions. Ask the right questions, so um, you know how many hours you have to be working. You know how far you have to travel. You know how much of your time you have to invest. Like I say, it's not only the performance time, but all the preparation. So that's very important, not only for artists to know, but also for the client who is interested on hiring your services. So yeah, that's it. Thank you so much. Welcome back one more time to the podcast. I hope that I can continue, and I hope no, I think I will continue this. Just got me a little patient. I'm a full-time artist and singer, and I'm trying to get my schedule together so I can share as much information as possible. So I hope to see you in the next podcast, and please check out my other social media so you can check it out. What I've been doing, some of my performance. I also have a lot of vlogs on my YouTube channel. So I hope I see you very, very soon. And oh, shout out to Lilly.V beats. All the music that you've been hearing on the podcast, it was made by me. If you want to have access to this music, free copyright for your podcast, for your blog, anything, just hit me up, and let's make it happen. I'll see you in the next podcast. Bye bye.